Hi Paul, thanks for joining me and in the interview. So just wanted to ask a few questions really around race and your experience with race itself. So we'll start off with the first question. So what was your experience of being biracial in your area?
Yeah, so being from the area of Wolverhampton, I grew up in just outside like inner city estate. It was quite a multicultural area that I lived in, so I won't say I had any issues around race. A lot of the people around me with people of colour, all different backgrounds. So you had like white, black, Asian. So I wouldn't really, as growing up as a child, I didn't really. I know when people say I didn't see colour, but I generally didn't. I just thought I was just a normal young person, a normal young child growing up. Didn't really have any really issues with race, really. I was aware of it, but that was mainly through my father, really, my dad, who used to explain to me some of the issues he had growing up in school time. So that was the kind of things that I remember growing up in terms of racism. It was mainly my dad telling him some of the issues he had and how he didn't want me to suffer with them. So I need to be aware of them and what's going on, really. So in terms of my area, I didn't really have much issues in terms of growing up in the area I lived in.
Yeah, so would you say you've been on the back of that? Have you been affected or impacted by racism in any way? And if so, was there any lasting impact? So
yeah, so in terms of direct racism, I've had direct racism towards me on a number of occasions, and there's also other ways and terms of racism, really. But in terms of the direct racism, my first memory was when I was probably about 8 years old, and I played it at the time. It didn't really sink in with me, but I do remember it to this day. So I was playing for a football team, and I was playing as a striker, banging the goals as you do, and and then the keeper got injured, so I went in goal because I was quite good in goal, and then I played a few games in goal, and I was standing in for the keeper for a couple of weeks, and then the one day I let a goal in. It was probably a couple of weeks down the line, and I don't think it was my fault, but someone, obviously this lad from my own team, took exception to it, and he basically, called me a black bee. I don't know if I can swear on this, but yeah, called me a black bee, and it was directed at me, which at the time I wasn't really aware of. I was just playing football, but some of the parents heard it. I'm not sure if my dad heard it because he used to come watch me every week. But some parents heard it and then made my dad aware of it. So in that instance, I wasn't really affected by it. But afterwards, I did become aware of it. And as a young person, I just wanted to play football, so I just got on with it. And I think my dad spoke to the young person's dad about it, because I didn't want to stop playing football. But shortly after that, I did move teams and I did go to another team because there was a person who actually heard it on another pitch, and his dad once said, "Oh, if you need to come to our team because you aren't getting none of that here." And I think my manager at the time didn't really get involved in it, and he didn't try and educate people on it, and he just kind of brushed it under the carpet. So that young person didn't really have any implications with it. So he didn't get banned, he didn't get talked to. It was just literally just got on with it, and that was it. And I suppose that was kind of the mantra then at the time. I just got on with it. Didn't really get involved. My dad obviously was probably just wanted me to play football, and he just wanted me to be happy. And at the time I was. So that's the main one really that I can remember as a young person at the age of 8. And then later down the line, I remember, so about when I was about 14, I actually bumped into this individual. And to be honest, I was friends with this person. I was a bit of a stranger. I was teammates with this person, so I didn't really understand it. But then about 4 or 5 years down the line, he come to join a team that I was at, and the manager knew about it because he knew this player, and he was the one that took me to the other team. So I didn't join in this other team, and then he said, "This lad wants to come and play." He's like, "But it's completely up to you." At the time, he says, I remember what he said to him. He said, it's completely up to you. He's a good player, but I don't want him if you're not comfortable. And at the time, I just wanted to play football, and I wanted to play in the best team possible. He's a good player, so I was like, "Yeah, but I'll speak to him." So we spoke to him, and he was like, he didn't even remember saying it was a young person. So I guess it was something that he brought from home. If he was age 8 as well, it's not something he was probably educated about. So yeah, that was something that he got from his parents, unfortunately, I'm guessing, or some of his family members. Also, another time really was just travelling areas. I think this was later on, when I was about 15 or 16, me and my friend went to meet a group of friends in a different area, so probably like 4 or 5 miles from my area. Hopped onto a bus, and then we got off the bus, and it was like a group gathering really, where some of the boys and the girls would hang out in an area, and then we got off the bus, and then yeah, we basically just racially abused again. So a car went past, and they just shouted, "Yeah, black B," and yeah, we were just shocked really. We were really shocked. We was like, we couldn't believe it, because I was a lot older then, so we were 15, 16, so I was aware of it, and they just sped off and they were laughing about it. And to be honest, it did make me feel uncomfortable, to the fact that like I just didn't, whenever I went there, if I went there again, I'd think twice about it, because I'd be like, is this the area, what it's like? Is this what the people are like? That these people that we've come to visit, who we used to get round on a weekly basis, are they all the same really? Is this area known for it? Because I'd heard stuff about this area, and it's got like a past of maybe some racial opinions in that area. But to actually hear it firsthand was shocking really, and it did kind of impact me on that way, where I kind of stayed away from the area moving forward. So yeah, I'd say that's how it's mainly impacted me in that way, just like traveling into different areas. And yeah, I think now again, going on to that, so as I've got older, and I was say looking for a house to buy, I'm really conscious of what areas I'm looking into as well. So if I'm like, is that a multicultural area, I want to make sure I've got it is a multicultural area, so I feel a bit more welcome. Or if I do have kids one day, I don't want them to be in an area where they kind of stand out and people are looking at them, and maybe they'll get racially abused one day. So I don't really want that. So I'm always making sure that even if I'm looking at houses or future houses, especially the house I'm in now, I didn't really want it to be in an area where you'd kind of stand out. It wanted to be a bit more of a multicultural area.
I would say that must have been difficult, that going through tough times like that, especially obviously with the football, and then the some of the car as well. And I think it's quite upsetting to sort of hear them things happening, sort of thing, and like still happening even then really. And so what are there any other specific challenges that you've faced, that like in relation to your race, specifically your race, like you said just now, or are they the top two, would you say?
Yeah, when I say, I think they were the ones that had like completely directed at me. So like it's first hand I've heard them,
Yeah.
and I'm aware of them. But there's obviously like the casual racing as well, which I think is like the main one really, where people are casually racist and they're actually like saying that they're not racist. Where I'm not racist because I've not said you're a, or I've not actually said you're a black so and so. It's the casual racing in terms of like, if you know if I'm late to if I've been late to somewhere, and they're like, oh, I should something like, I should expect you to be late. It's always like, and it's like, if it was like a white person, we'll just say they've obviously got there's a reputation around it, there's a perception, and there is obviously sayings around that. But like, yeah, that's my view on it, and that's just my opinion. But I think that's definitely sways towards race again. Even just the way I portray myself, so the way I speak, and the way I act. So when I meet someone new, I have to try and kind of I'm not even step out of character, because this is how I'm speaking now. It's how I am, and I have to kind of over elaborate on how I speak. So I want to show that I speak like English really, and not a certain way a person would say a black person speaks, so to speak. And then you've got instances such as like when I've gone to like bars with my friends, and we've queued up for like 20 minutes, and with shirt and tie and everything, and then we've been waiting there, and then they'll say, oh, there's only 2 or 3 of us, and they're saying, oh, you can't come in, and they're saying why, and they're like, we just can't, like, there's no reason why. And then you see literally like 2 minutes later, they're letting like a group of 3 white lads in, and it's like, it's not obviously black and white where, yeah, that's the reason why, but it's happened on too many occasions for it not to be yeah, a coincidence, so to speak. So yeah, definitely the casual racism is a big one, and I think I see that around quite a lot. I think for myself as well, I'm a mixed race person. My mum's white, my dad's black Caribbean. Um, I think people when they see like mixed race people when they don't fully see black in someone when I'm not actually like full black, like black British, sometimes they don't see it, so they might pass a little comment, and I'm thinking they probably think because they don't see me as black that it doesn't bother me, it doesn't offend me, or they'll know that I've got white in me, so it's like they'll pass a casual racist comment. I'm like, wow, like that is actually racist. So yeah, I suppose them casual undertones really, which is the main thing that I think today I still experience. I can't really go into specifics really because they're just so generalised, and they're just so they're probably so frequent really, and more than you probably even think. But yeah, they still go on more than you see, and you probably see it all over the TV now and stuff. So yeah, definitely.
How do you see yourself in the community?
I think myself again. I think like I just touched on really, because I'm a mixed race. Sometimes I feel like I'm in between two stools.
Yeah.
And like some people, like sometimes it's like the people who are racist will see how you are. They'll I'm trying
It's
to
okay. Yeah, take your time. It's a tough one to answer. So
they
yeah.
will. So people who are racist, they'll see positive you in your white side, but then if anything goes wrong, they'll see the black side in you. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So if
you do something good, it's because of the white ethnic background. If you do something bad, it's because of the black ethnic background. Okay.
Yeah, like if there's trouble about is it them group of guys over there because they're black, or I've got black in me, or if I've done something good, is it because of the white side of me, or but I think that's just generalised really. But how do I see myself in my community? Well, I did community work, so for me, this is the reason why I did community work really, just to give everyone like an equal stance on things. So when I work with a whole range of young people from different backgrounds, and I want to give everyone a voice and everyone a chance and opportunity to do what they want to do really. And I think because I can see both sides. I've come from a white family, I come from a black family, and at the end of the day, I always want to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity. So
how do you feel the media portray minority groups, such as yourself, for example, or other minority groups, but specifically to you?
Media for me, obviously now it's a bit more. There's a bit more diversity in terms of even just like you watch TV shows, watch football shows, pundits. There's a lot more diversity there. But I feel again the news side of it is quite negative. Well, more than quite negative towards black people. So again, you'll see them labelled as like troublemakers. Even like when you see like the knife crime and stuff, it's always black individuals have done knife crime, but I can guarantee you there's knife crime in all areas, white, black, and it's always black people on the front of your screens who are involved in knife crime and stuff. So I'd like if they're going down that way and they want to show news, they should show the whole news, not just black individuals who you see who get involved in crime or stuff like that. And
has it shaped the way you live your life and also see yourself? So that was the second part, which I left purposely to just sort of see how you answered the first one and related it through to the second one.
Yeah, I think it definitely does. So when they talk about like when you saw on the news and they talk about like gangs on the streets, and it's predominantly always seems to be like targeting black people. So even just like me walking down the street as not so much now, but as a younger individual, I'd walk down the street, and if I saw like an older person, in my head I'm thinking, is she thinking I'm like, she's probably thinking I'm a troublemaker or I'm going to do something. So I'll purposely cross the road just to make them feel comfortable. Now, I shouldn't really have to do that, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking I don't want it to think bad of me because of the colour of my skin. And I'm thinking, would I do that if I was white? I'm not sure. I can't answer that, but that's what's run through my head when I've done that action myself, where I thought, oh, she's probably thinking black guy, on his own. I watch a lot of football, and then when I talk about like the casual undertones for that, it's just. Or when they talk about like Savage run about a striker or a winger, and I've watched teams, and as I said, I watch a lot of football, and they say they're bringing on like a pacey striker. Like black people are known for being quick, as you see in the Olympics and stuff like that. And then like for years gone by, there have been kind of shoehorned into certain positions on the football pitch because of I suppose how quick they are and their physical stats and stuff like that. And I suppose now it's terms of the media. Do they even do their research and their knowledge on like players even more? It's like a player can come on the pitch and they're saying, "Oh, this player's really fast. We need to bring him on." And I'm like, "He's not." And I'm like, "This player is not fast." I watch this team week in week out. What has give this media a reason to think this player's fast? Again, I think that still happens today. You don't really hear of black players being labelled as clever players, nice touch. It's always like white players, clever, and it's again like even we're talking about like bravery and stuff. That seems like that comes from like a perception of white players, like they're being brave and stuff like that. Whereas black players are always labelled into being physical specimen. They were strong, they were quick.
What's your role at Leicester City in the community then? So, what is your role?
Yeah, so my role is I'm a senior kicks coordinator where I oversee the kicks program, which works with young people aged 8 to 18, providing opportunities in the local community for young people to basically enhance themselves, really, not as footballers, but as individuals, make them become more rounded, provide more opportunities through the power of football. So can we engage young people in sport whilst offering them educational opportunities to enhance their skills, really, to send them on the right journey? So whether that's a young person going down the wrong path, and can we get them back on the right path to have a successful life, really? So that's what the Kicks program is all about. It's a youth engagement program funded by the Premier League, and it's been running for 13 plus years now, and it's a really successful program. I've worked on it for in total around 9 years. Firstly as a casual coach, then a lead coach, and then as a coordinator in my previous role, and now I'm a senior coordinator at Leicester City in the community. So I oversee a team which goes out and delivers in the inner city areas and also in the county areas. So previously we've worked with police, so we've targeted areas where we think that there's issues around antisocial behaviour, where we can work with young people who really need it, really. It's not always about the crime aspect, it's about can we help communities that need it the most, whether that's high deprivation around unemployment, or whether that's again like crime, or young people who are struggling like academically. But my role is leading the team, leading the program, but whilst also delivering it. I still have a really big passion to develop young people and give them opportunities and let them see their potential, really, and not go down the wrong path, so to speak, because I know that can be easily done if you're in the wrong crowds, or you've not got enough opportunities to stay away from the wrong crowds. I think that's what the Kicks program is all about. But as I said, my role is to oversee the program. I still have a passion to help young people of all ages all genders, all cultural backgrounds, and just make sure they have the best life possible, really.
So given your work in the community then, what do you see local communities becoming in the future? And how do you think we can start to educate the next generation? So develop them as people in relation to race, specifically to race. How can we educate them, and what do you see the community becoming?
Yeah, so it's a tough one really, because I've always had the idea that for this to happen, it's going to take for the world to be a non-racial world, so to speak, and where we don't see racism. It's going to take a long time. Obviously, over the years, it's got better. My dad's obviously told me stories of him growing up, and they were really bad. He obviously grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where even he couldn't even go to school without being having racism against him, really, and that was from teachers and pupils, and and I think to have that from people where you should feel safe is really bad. But today, obviously, you don't get that. You get teachers who really want to help, and it just wouldn't happen. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to have the thought process, because they still can. We don't know what every individual is like. But I think in terms of educating the next generation, I think delivering workshops, which we can deliver on the KICS program, I think that's something that has to go across various programs that we deliver, and just in general within schools. They need to educate around like Black History Month. They do a Black History Month, but I think that should be for me, it should be in the school curriculum. They've got history, why not put it in there? We talk about the World War I, World War II, but why not about race? And I'm not talking about like a Black Caribbean or a Black African. I'm talking about the whole race, whether you're Asian, whether you're Black, whether you're white, whether you're from a different culture. So it should be more rounded, really. So I think race should definitely be within the curriculum. So, because I know, and a lot of people know, it does come from a generational thing, so it will get passed on through generations and parents and so on. So, and then as a child, you just take it as gospel. If your parents telling you something, you just take it. But if you're getting told from a young age in school, when you're in primary school, secondary school, you can have your own mind, and you can go home and you can actually maybe challenge your parents or talk about your parents, what you're doing, and let them see what you're actually doing in school. And if you've got homework on it, they'll have to work with you on it. And if not, then if they feel uncomfortable about it, they'll have to get comfortable. Otherwise, that's your grade that you're going to miss out on. The work in organisations where we need more of a presence at the top end of jobs, which I think is obviously getting better again in certain organisations, and it's good to see. But that needs to carry on, really, and that message still needs to go out there.
So finally then, to wrap up, because it's been fantastic to hear like your perception on it. What does a world without racism look like to you?
Oh, question. I think I'll just use the words like equal opportunities, non-judgmental. I think that's the word, prejudgment, really. Yeah, I think for me, it is the prejudged thing for me. Again, as I said, it's not the racism now for me, is the people who sit at home and think about racism and are racist in their homes, not the ones who are saying it face to face. So it's the prejudged of having that thought process. So for me, it's just a non-prejudged view on people, people being as one. Because then I think obviously the world would be a better place, really. It's a tough question, but that is, for me, it should be an equal place where people can just live next door to each other without any thought processes of what colour they look like, what background they're from. go into a community where they don't have to worry of feeling uncomfortable or saying anything uncomfortable. So yeah, that's it for me really, on that answer, because I think it's a really tough question.
It is a tough question because, and sadly, I think the reason it's tough is that because it will still be here throughout the next few years, probably. Hopefully, that question. The reason I see that question is to see probably where we're at, and I think hopefully that question will get easier as the years go on. Yeah, thanks once again, and yeah, speak to you very soon. Let's hope that we start to see a bit of progression with this. So
yeah, thanks for that.